You got mail. Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next hour today, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Good morning. The rest of the guys are out doing stuff, and
They're
Spence.
just out having fun.
Yeah, but
I
that's
think
fine.
they all-
That's
they're
fine
all-
too.
They all went to the same place together. That they're having fun.
And you have stuff to do
Yeah. Oh, it just happens that way. I mean,
shortly, so that's
Yeah.
okay. All right, that's
Just-
fine.
Dishwashers fail. Projects get moved up.
Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
I'm going to lean out of the picture for a second so I can turn on my fan.
You can't.
Yeah.
He can't, can he? Oh, well, he did anyway.
I did. I can lean out.
Now we can see him.
Now, my overhead fan is on, but the light is off. Helps a lot.
So, the one thing that strikes me right now, a story that I read about this week, Windows now has a utility called PCManager. PC
Manager. Okay.
They said that it was introduced in 2022 into the App Store, but it was hidden. And now it's available for everybody. And it does a lot of stuff. It optimizes your memory. It optimizes your drive. There's all kinds of different things that for Windows that it'll do.
So it's basically a front end for other utilities that run. kind of.
As I don't know, as far as I know,
unless it's new things, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like, okay, you don't need like something like CCleaner anymore. It does a bunch of things. It's called PC Manager.
PC Manager. I'm going to
The
go ahead and
only
download it
thing-
as we speak.
The what?
I'm going to go ahead and set it
Yeah,
up as we
the
speak.
only thing that I didn't see is it just for Windows 11 or is it also for Windows 10? Didn't mention it anywhere. But it's an interesting concept and interesting utility.
I typed in on the search bar in Windows 10 and it opened CoPilot.
Uh-oh.
I had a run. I'll tell you about my CoPilot experience this week. Too.
Wait, but which browser are you using?
It automatically opened Edge. That's when I typed in. It's not my default browser.
Oh,
But it opened Edge, opened CoPilot, and it
wait,
does work with-
explain to me. How
Yeah.
did it open Edge?
Well, I typed it in on the search bar on the bottom of Windows 10.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
Okay.
I didn't even have
Yeah.
to do nothing.
Yeah.
I did nothing. It opened it automatically. It didn't give me a choice.
I do away with that search. I do away with everything at the bottom of the screen, the desktop that is
So
not needed.
So
But-
PC Manager is Windows 10, 1809 and newer, and Windows 11.
Oh,
So boost your PC, improve performance, manage storage, pop-up management, reduce interruptions. Oh God, really? They have a problem with that? Reduce interruptions? I mean, that was the whole thing that happened to me this week.
oh, Spence.
It froze me in place. I had to restart my machine. I'll tell you about it. But, it's so frustrating. And then toolbox and mini toolbar.
Got all
Awesome.
kind of things about a screenshot. I mean, a screenshot. Yeah, it's got. It looks like it's an interesting piece of utility. I didn't try it yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and install it on the
Yeah.
Windows 10 machine.
But
Uh,
any so what was your problem with,
oh, with Copilot, I
yeah,
mean, it basically took over my machine, and then I could not. It I could, you notice every once in a while your screens will go blank and they'll come back.
yeah,
Something's being reconfigured in the background. Well, it did that and
right.
changed the resolution on both of my monitors. And then I'm looking for my window um, that's open with my browser, and I'm clicking on the taskbar, and nothing's opening.
Yeah.
And what it did was it moved that to the laptop screen by default. So my two other monitors were just desktop. So the screen that I was using that had apps open and all that was now on my laptop, which I don't look at. It's on a shelf. I don't look at it. Right. I know it's there. If I go off to the right with the cursor, it goes there. But my machines are set up that I never go there. Right. So
Okay.
I'm like, where did everything go? So I'm thinking that that my uh, Chrome was messed up.
Mm.
So I restart the machine and suddenly it's working again. And I realized, oh, it moved everything off to that other screen because I keep the laptop only open like an inch. And so I can reach the power button when I turn the system on. Lenovo laptops, the screen will light up, which is just like a basic startup, and then the screen will go away. You have to actually press the power button again. It doesn't have I don't know if they have a restart from power failure feature. I could probably turn that on. It would do the same thing. But
Huh.
so
Well,
it had me stumped for like 10 minutes. I'm like, and I was something like I was right in the middle of doing uh billing and doing
oh,
taxes and
jeez.
other stuff, right? And I'm like, what happened to did I lose everything? I'm like, it reconfigured it. And the reason why was because Copilot loaded uh, a taskbar on the right side of the each open window. It wasn't there before.
Mhm.
Suddenly came Copilot preview is now here.
And didn't give
Yeah.
you a chance to cancel,
No,
"No, I don't
nothing,
want it," or anything.
nothing. I didn't add nothing. It just did it on its own.
Uh, Microsoft.
Somebody in some Microsoft office somewhere. Each person has like 250,000 users that they can automatically change their machine, right? So they have a series of buttons and just goes, oh, I think, no, I'll press this one.
Yes.
And it goes out and it changes everything. It's got to be that. I mean, we could make a comedy routine about that, right? About how there's some guy somewhere
Somewhere.
that has a button and he's playing golf and he has a little remote in his pocket. He presses the button and blows everybody up.
Well,
Oh,
but you got it back, and that's what's
I
important.
did, thank goodness. But I had a comment from a customer, the one that I worked with moving his work machine from a Windows 10 to a Windows 11 laptop. And he said to me, how does the average person get past all this stuff? Because we ran into so many issues with migrating and just configuring Windows 11 and trying to get Outlook to work. And I didn't realize that with Office 365, they've got Outlook and they have new Outlook. And it's automatically defaults to open new Outlook, which is the latest, greatest, can't do anything manually Outlook.
Oh, jeez.
So if you have to configure POP or
Hmm.
uh, it can do a reasonably good job with iMac. But POP, it's very difficult because it does have the feature where you click and it goes out and finds the settings and comes back, but it does not capture all the settings. So I'm trying to get Outlook to work on this machine, and it turns out that uh, they offer a migration tool
Yeah.
in Windows 11, migrate from Windows 10 to Windows 11, but the way it migrates your your Outlook PST files and your OST files is using the
Yeah.
Microsoft Cloud. If you don't have the cloud configured, it doesn't work. So I
Cloud
found,
as in OneDrive?
yeah, yep, it's got to be configured and running. That's how they go and they find the files, they put them on the cloud, and then when you put them in your machine, it migrates them over. That's wonderful. But I, he wanted me, and I understand why, to create a local ID, not a Microsoft ID to log into the machine. That's the way his old machine was. And I figured out a way. It was not easy to actually get that local. We've talked about it, I
Yeah.
know, on the show before.
Yeah.
I was able to do it, and I got it to run. But it the machine takes for granted that you are going to have a Microsoft ID. So I used. He had 3 email addresses. 2 of them were POP, and 1 was Exchange. The Exchange ones was no problem. You just give it the email address, password, it goes, it configures it, it opens, it runs, which is great to Microsoft's credit. But the POP stuff, which happened to be our old friends at Earthlink,
I mean, I use
and
POP.
oh no, it works great now. Now that I was able to find out that, I'm asking all these questions about configuring, and I didn't find it on the Microsoft forums. Guess where I found it? Reddit said that, you have to not the icon that they put on the taskbar when you install the machine is the new Outlook. So you have to go and find the old Outlook, which is another app. It's right there. It's in the list of apps, and make that your default email program.
Now, the migration tool, is this from Windows 10 to 11 or Outlook, the old to the new?
No, it's an Outlook tool.
So why can't they just put the file on your hard drive? Why have a cloud? Why
Well,
can't they?
I think
Geez.
if there was a migration tool, because the problem is they can't migrate programs because programs are licensed.
Right.
So they don't offer that. They don't offer a migration tool. They offer a migration tool for files or like Internet Explorer and Edge settings, that kind of thing. But they don't offer migration for
Hmm.
the Outlook migration tool. If I was coming from an Outlook where the person used OneDrive, it's the first thing I did when I set up this machine for him was I uninstalled OneDrive. I just took it off the machine.
But somehow it got back on.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't there.
Okay.
That's why the new Outlook failed, because there was no OneDrive.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, well.
because it's very simple. It says, okay, what's your email address? Put it in. Uh, and to continue, you have to be logged into your OneDrive account. That's what it says. And if you can't continue unless you are. So I did it the old way, but
Interesting.
I had to go back to.
But you did it. That's what's
Yeah,
important.
and the good news is that the Outlook he was using on his Windows 10 machine is the same as the one that's on the 11, minus the new. So he was happy with that. The menus look the same, and all that
Yeah.
worked. But yeah, it was this, and I felt bad, and I told him, look, I'm not going to charge you for my personal education
Education. Yeah.
on this, because I have to sit here and research this for a couple hours and get it to work. That's not your problem. So I told him I'm just going to give you
Yeah.
basically a flat rate
Yeah.
to
Which is
do it.
fine. You'll know for next time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't expect to be doing this a lot. And that's probably part of the
Well,
problem is I'm not doing it enough to
right.
be, oh
That's
yeah, I
the.
know how to do that. I know how to do that. So
All right. Let me ask you this. Do you have Spotify?
no, but I have used it in the past
So
for podcasts,
Spotify is
not for music.
Spotify is about to render its car thing, which is a product of theirs, car thing, dashboard accessory, inoperable on December 9th. Not only is the company refusing to open source the device, it won't offer owners any subscription credit or automatic refund. Rather, it's just canning the project and telling people to responsibly dispose of car thing. This is from The Verge. It says the message was, "We are discontinuing car thing as part of our ongoing efforts to streamline our product offering." I guess car thing is an actual device that you put in the car. It's not just an app.
Yeah, I was saying they can't unless they have an interface that they
Yeah.
can load it on the most older cars are proprietary unless you have
Yeah. So I
CarPlay
said,
or
we understand it may be disappointing, but this decision allows us to focus on developing new features, as in new money, and enhancements that will ultimately provide a better experience to all Spotify users. The thing I don't understand is no refunds, no credit. I mean, if you paid something for a subscription, you don't get it. This, I don't know.
that's poor business.
It is. And you kind of wonder what kind of person made that decision. I mean, I'm sure they looked and they got advice from their attorneys and stuff, but I I don't understand.
Well, if it's in the EULA that they can stop it at any time with no hazard to them, then it's legal.
No.
Not ethical, but it's legal. Yeah, it was an add-on device that you would install on the dashboard, and it's kind of like a XM radio would have looked, an add-on XM radio. Not sure how it plays uh, through the radio. If it's
I
got
don't know.
maybe it's just an FM transmitter or something like that.
Maybe it's a USB that you plug in.
And
And
there was a story. When I did a search on it, the thing that popped up was a story from February 2022 saying they just introduced it because it said in February 2022, Car Thing is from Spotify is now officially available in the U.S.
uh,
So it's only been out there a little over 2 years.
yeah,
Designed for your drive. I think what happened was maybe they didn't anticipate how popular CarPlay and what's the Google version of CarPlay called? Google something. I don't remember.
uh,
But natively built in, you just plug in, and there's wireless versions of it now too, if you have an adapter. Plug in the USB cable, it pops up, CarPlay opens, and there are the apps that are registered with CarPlay show up on the screen in your radio. Navigation, music, text. The
oh,
interface, it uses, in an Apple case, it uses a Siri interface for text messages for playing them back and responding, and it actually works pretty well. I'm surprised that it's not wonky. But
all right. Now you had problems with CoPilot, which is AI.
yes,
Now Google AI search
I heard about this. Yes.
is telling users to put glue on pizza because it's trained on Reddit. Google pays Reddit $60 million a year to train its AI on posts on Reddit. And it looks like Google AI is now pulling directly from the dregs of internet. Google AI overview for cheese not sticking to pizza is brilliant information it got from 11-year-old Reddit post.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a community on Reddit that got wind of this
And doing
and
no, they're
started to
doing
plant
that
stuff, right?
right, exactly.
Oh,
There were quite a few things that I've been reading the last few weeks about that AI search telling you about running with scissors, doing things that are really ridiculous. Hopefully, this is just because it's new and they'll figure out how to do it. I mean, they need to use AI in order to filter the results that the AI is. I don't know. I don't know. It's
Well,
it, it's
again,
ridiculous.
again, I think that, and we talked about this, how AI is misrepresented. That really all it is a collection
Yeah,
of if this, then that, that it takes and says, oh, well, how do you paint a car? And it goes out and looks at 1,000 responses from people and, well, here are the most common ways that people do it. So that's what they'll present. So it's not it's intelligence in that it can sort things the way a human would in some cases, but it doesn't have values. It doesn't have judgment or wisdom. Is
right.
that's what I
Not
hear from people say. You
not yet.
can't rely on AI for wisdom.
Not yet.
No.
We'll see. Um, Microsoft. No, here you're using. I mean, it brought Edge up when you type that. So Microsoft is adding screenshot prevention controls in Edge to block you from making screenshots at work. It's all designed to prevent you from sharing screenshots with competitors, relatives, and journalists. Using Microsoft Edge for Business reports that from the report, specifically IT managers at corporation will be able to tag web pages as protected as defined in various Microsoft policy engines in Microsoft 365, Microsoft Defender for cloud apps, Microsoft Intune mobile application management, and Microsoft Purview. Microsoft said the screenshots prevention feature will be available to customers in the coming months. It's also unclear whether third party tools will be somehow blocked from taking screenshots or recording video too. So I don't know how they're going to stop another browser from doing it, but when you're
That
in
was
a
my thought. And did they
yeah,
really?
but the thing is when you're in a corporate and you know it,
Oh,
you
it's locked down. Yeah.
yeah,
But
you can't
I wonder how many corporations standardize on Edge. I mean, it's good. It's the browser I go to when I have a formatting issue with another browser
uh-huh.
where screen doesn't work right. There are some apps that I used when I worked in Alaska that I could only get it to work on Edge, like logging into an accounting system or something.
I very seldom
I
bring
don't
it
use
up.
it much either. You know, it's
Only when testing
but it
certain things.
will automatically, without your consent, when it's installed, go and harvest your passwords from Google. And all of a sudden they're there. I don't remember saying, go ahead and migrate.
Yeah.
I just, that and all your links and history were all there. So if they can find it, it means it can be found by somebody else. Because you theoretically logged into Google at that
And
time.
we talked about this Amazon before, but Amazon is upgrading its decade-old A word with generative AI and plans to charge a monthly subscription fee to offset the cost of the technology. The Seattle based tech and retail giant will launch a more conversational version of Alexa this year, potentially positioning it to better compete with new generative AI powered chatbots from companies including Google and OpenAI. Um, Amazon subscription for it will not be included in the 139 a year Prime offering.
So what, do you still get basic A word service?
I have no idea.
Because that's it. Here we go. It's like they suddenly started adding advertising now to
Yeah,
Prime,
yeah,
and you can opt out, but you have to pay.
yep.
And so now is it going to be that? It's
They'll do
hysterical. But
anything to make sure that you are not going to be able to get anything out of it for free. And you would say, yeah, I'll pay it. But they don't even know how much they're going to charge it.
well, most people don't know what subscriptions they have
Oh,
signed up for. The new dishwasher that we bought, and this seems to be a very out there feature on a lot of dishwashers, is A is built in, plus Wi-Fi, plus an app on the phone, and so
huh.
I'm thinking, so you go to bed and you say, hey, run a dirty plate cycle, and A decides, no, you don't need that. We're going to run this circle. We looked at the soil sensors in the dishwasher. We looked at the soil sensors, and it told us you need to run this one. So we're going to run this one, and
Yeah.
and it will order supplies for you. Whatever pods you get or whatever the packets you use for the dishwasher soap, it will automatically place an order on Amazon for you.
Well, as long as it'll pay for it.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you can get a dishwasher subscription now from Amazon.
Hannah was here yesterday. It was her birthday, so she came over, and she. I didn't notice, but while we were sitting talking and all that, she says, "So how do you like my hair? I cut it." I said, "Well, it looks to me like you cut it." She said, "Yeah, I cut about 4 inches off of it."
That's a loaded question.
And she said that she needed a headshot or a professional shot for a paper that she has to publish. And she had a picture, but it wasn't that great. So she took it and she used AI to see what it'll do with it. And she said she did quite a few pictures and she showed me, and it's unbelievable what it came up with. I mean, it changed the background, it changed the color of the jacket she was wearing. It made really, I mean, she was in a casual picture that she took, and it made it look like it was a professionally taken picture. But the one thing that it did across all these pictures, it cut her hair off. It shortened it. Not cut it off, it shortened it. And she showed it to Kathy, and Kathy said, you need to cut your hair like that. It really looks good. And she said, you know what? You're right. So she went yesterday and had it cut. But
So
it was interesting. I mean, I said, let me see. And I'm looking and I'm trying to find something that you can tell that this is a fake,
yeah.
and you can't.
Hmm. So it says
Perfect.
Great Clips
Perfect.
is going to have the AI generator now. You go in and
Uh,
you sit down and okay,
they could.
and and then that means that people have to be trained, especially trained, in order to reproduce what the AI does.
I mean, if AI will come up with a haircut, well, that's okay. But if AI is going to come up with a haircut and cut it, now it's a problem for all these salons.
I know there have been science fiction versions of this and even comedy versions of this idea that you put on a pair of glasses and the glasses will interpret what you're seeing. So you only see the best of everything. Like you go and there's a
Rose
really,
color lenses.
an old house that's just bad shape. And you put these on and wow, the
Wow.
house looks great. And you don't see the reality. You see the scrubbed reality.
Yeah.
So that would be far easier than actually going and implementing the stuff that AI does, because all you see is what AI wants you to see.
Yeah.
That's a scary notion.
Huh?
You go to vote, and it's going to show you the ballot that AI wants you to see.
Yeah. And she
Yeah.
said that it's somewhere on the web. It's like a chat bot,
Hmm.
and you get 10 pictures for free, and then it's like $40 a year, which is really nothing. And she did all 10 of them, and each one is different than the other as far as the clothes she's wearing and the backgrounds and all that. But the hair on all of them was shorter than what the hair that she had.
I did a
So
search and I've already found at least three uh, AI, four, five, six,
yeah, she said that. I said,
seven.
so why don't you pay for it? Pay the $40. It's worth it. She said, Dad, there's so many of them. If I ever need another one, I'll just go and get a trial on another one.
That's true. Yep, that's true.
So it's
I'll take a current picture and say, make me 20 years younger.
you could. I'm sure you
Yeah,
could.
but it's what good would it be unless I was
Yeah,
trying to, put
yeah,
a
yeah.
really nice
No, this
uh,
was. I mean, it was very much like the picture that she just took, really, except it changed the background. And it did it in a nice, clean way. It made every picture look like very like a professional shot. I was impressed.
does it take warts off your face?
I don't know. She doesn't have any. Uh, now,
Oh,
talking about that, Microsoft Paint is getting a new image generator tool called Co-Creator that can generate images based on text prompts and doodles. During a demo at its Surface event, the company showed off how Co-Creator combines your own drawings with text prompts to create an image. There's also a creativity slider that allows you to control how much you want AI to take over compared with your original art.
hmm.
As Microsoft pointed out, the combination of text, prompts, and your own brushstrokes enable faster edits. It could also help provide a more precise rendering than what you'd be able to achieve with DALL-E or another text to image generator alone. So, yeah, who
I-
would have thought? Microsoft Paint.
it's interesting because as we slowly go off this cliff, we're not, maybe we're not off the cliff yet, but we're accelerating for it. What happens when you have a whole generation of technical people who are trained on how to use AI and have forgotten how to do it manually?
Yeah.
Right? You have a lot of experts, Photoshop experts out there who can do amazing work, beautiful work. But if they rely on, they might become experts in how to interact with AI to do the same thing. But will they be able to do it?
It's just like the problem with cashiers. Electricity goes out and the register calculator is not working. They can't add or subtract.
Yeah.
You forget. It's the same thing as phone numbers in an auto dial on your phone. You just click on it. You forget the number. Yeah,
I
but
went to my annual checkup this past week.
yeah,
And part of it, when I went through before I saw the doctor, they come in and they give me a pad and they say, draw a clock with this time on it. It's a cognitive thing to
okay,
find out if you can do it. So I drew it and it was fine. And I said to the doctor, I said, so what happens when you start to have patients coming for this checkup who never learned how to read a watch?
yeah,
And
right.
we
It's a
were chuckling
digital.
over it to say, it won't be hard to draw a digital clock. Just write the number in it.
Exactly.
Oh, they'll have to come up with something else.
Yeah. Well,
When
listen,
you
listen.
do you do the annual Medicare over the phone thing? Is
No,
your
I
like,
I do no. I mean, they never call. The thing that I'm surprised is every time you go to the doctor and you do a check, like if it's a prostate check or blood test, or and then they send you gift cards.
Yes, to do that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing to me.
So we're the plan that we're in now has this thing where you do, and Duke had it too, even outside of if you were a certain age, they assume that you have Medicare, right? But they would have this they call population health nurse, and you'd have an hour and a half video call, and you go through health history and recommendations, and they ask you at the beginning, they tell you at the beginning of the session, here's 3 words: apple, bicycle, rocket. And they're going to
Yeah,
ask you again at the end of the session to repeat it back. So they're doing a cognitive test right there.
interesting.
But
Yeah.
I think it's okay because it saves time with the doctor, and then they have a record of everything, and it updates all your health history without you having to be in the doctor's office to do it. So not
All
bad.
right, now listen to this. In the future, probably none of us will have a job. Elon Musk said Thursday, speaking remotely to the Viva Tech 2024 conference in Paris. Instead, jobs will be optional, something we'd do like a hobby. But otherwise, AI and the robots will provide any goods and services that you want.
For free?
That, that, that's that's what it
So
sounds like.
yeah, so that's universal
C-
income.
CNN, that's what Universal what?
Universal income.
Well,
That's what they're pushing for. And everybody just gets an income and they can do whatever they want.
CNN
Yeah.
reports that Musk added this would require universal high income.
Yeah. Well, no, basic income wouldn't be enough.
And
This
there
is
would
Star Trek.
and there would be no shortage of goods or
Yeah.
services. In a job-free future, though, Musk questions whether people would feel emotionally fulfilled. The question would really be one of meaning. If the computer and robots can do everything better than you, does your life have meaning? He said, I do think there's perhaps still a role for humans in this, in that we may give AI meaning.
Oh boy.
Now, look, I like to think that Elon Musk is smart, and I mean, obviously, he accomplished a lot. I mean, you mentioned Star Trek.
Well, the reason I mentioned that was because Gene Roddenberry, the founder of
Yeah,
Star Trek, had this idea. And it was in the future, the Star Trek world, nobody had to work.
but everybody had to work.
Well, but I mean, nobody had to. And the money didn't mean it. They went through
Yeah,
explanations of it on the show to say that, yeah, this future is everything is free and everything is funded, and but they don't explain how. They don't say what they did to get there. So
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. Is he going to give every person a Tesla? And um, I don't know. I don't know where they
it's
come
not
up
a
with that. And it's easy. It's easy to say that. I mean, to talk like that, because you don't have a crystal ball, and nobody's going to say, "Oh, yeah, you said it was possible." No, but he's not stupid.
no, and I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that
Yeah,
what's under the covers of this is the part that you want to know, because chances
right.
are you would not be able to do this with the current population of the planet because you have so many people
Yep.
that
Well, at that point, we'll be on the moon too.
well, true, but there's the whole idea that they have the I'm trying to think of what the correct way to say it is, but there's a whole group of group of intellectuals who say we need to bring the Earth's population back to what it was in 1850.
Yeah.
They actually have a goal of a time, and one of them was Jane Goodall, who was the chimpanzee expert. She was talking at a conference. She's on board with this. It's basically, let's lower the population. We have too many people. So I wanted to be the person in the audience and say, are you volunteering? Because
Right.
you're putting an expectation out there that's not going to affect you,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
going to
Very
affect
good.
somebody else.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Very
And that's
good. That's
typically how it
true.
happens. I think Musk is a brilliant man, uh, and has done great service with the whole. I think his biggest accomplishment, I think, is SpaceX because of what he's done to the possibilities, and the reusable rockets didn't
Mhm.
exist,
Yeah.
right? They had reusable engines on the space shuttle. That was the closest, and reusable boosters that could be refurbished. But he's talking about landing, refueling, and taking off again.
Yep.
And they'll get there. What was one of the Falcon 9 boosters before it had an accident landing, and it wasn't the fault of the engines. It had like 29 times it went in, it was reused 29 times with a minor refurbishing.
Hmm.
And the newest engine he's coming out with, I think they have the Raptor is the older classic one, and the Merlin, or the Merlin is the older one, the Raptor is the new one. I can't remember. But they took that same engine design, which was pretty complicated, and the generation two or so, half the parts, and just lowered the cost of making it, and it's more reliable. It's like, well, why couldn't NASA do this? And I realized NASA had a different goal. NASA's
Yep.
milestone was to get to the moon no matter what. So they did it the simplest way they could do it, which was non-reusable stuff.
Right. To
So
get there first.
yeah, but yeah, I that's the part that I'm fascinated by, is the whole SpaceX thing because of what they're doing,
Yeah.
and the milestones that they had. Now, some of their ideas were wacky and had to be abandoned, and it took them 10 years or more from the startup to where he was successfully flying on a regular basis. So it took a long time to get reliable, and he beat the snot out of Boeing. Boeing still hasn't provided the capsule that they want to use to go back to the moon. They tried to launch it twice already, and they had to scrub it both times for problems. And the rocket itself is a 50-year-old design that's been redone many times. An Atlas rocket. It's nothing new. It's been redone, but
Yeah.
it's very interesting. I hope to
Uh,
go. This is one of my bucket list things, is to go down to Boca Chica in Texas and see the Starship take off. I've seen a Falcon 9 launch from uh, Port Canaveral in Florida at night, which was exciting. But I'd like to go see a Starship launch. I'm one of the lucky people on the planet that got to see Apollo 11 take off in Florida. I was there. I was 13 years old, and
nice.
stood on the causeway and watched it take off.
Yeah.
And I met
Who
somebody else
knows?
who had done the same thing recently. I was at the Space Center in Huntsville, Alabama, at the visitor center, and was on a tour. And uh, somebody in passing said, "Oh yeah, I was able to see the launch." I said, "I was there too." Where were you standing?
All right. So the Federal Trade Commission has shared data on the most impersonated companies in 2023, which include Best Buy, Amazon, and PayPal in the top three. That's when you get emails from, or you get
Oh yeah,
calls from, as though they were. And yes, I mean, Best
they're getting
Buy,
better. They're getting better and better.
I mean, um, yeah, Best Buy, what is that? The Geek Squad. Oh, yeah, we got your payment. Thank you.
Oh, or
Um,
we owe you a refund.
uh, Just
click
click
here so
here.
we can,
Yeah.
and they'll take you through putting in your account information so we
Yeah.
can put the money in your bank
The
account.
federal agency detailed the top 10 companies scammers impersonate and how much they make depending on the impersonation. By far, the most impersonated corporation was Best Buy and its repair business Geek Squad,
Wow.
with a total of 52,000 reports. These are reports. Never mind those that don't report it.
52,000.
Reports in 2023. Amazon impersonators came in second place with 34,000 reports, and PayPal a distant third with 10,000. Proportionally, the top three made up roughly 72% of the reports among the top 10. And Best Buy and Geek Squad scam reports were about 39% on their own. Though high quantity doesn't necessarily translate to greater success for scammers, as the FTC also showed how much scammers made depending on what companies they impersonated. Best Buy and Geek Squad, Amazon, and PayPal scams made about $15 million. Oh, no, 15 million, 19 million, and 16 million, respectively. So it's 15 million for uh, Best Buy, 19 for Amazon, and 16 for PayPal. But that's nothing compared to the $60 million that Microsoft impersonators were able to fleece.
Oh. Oh.
Amazing. Just amazing. And
Well,
this is nothing new, those scams. And you wonder, why do people still fall for them?
and if you don't have anybody you can go to,
Yeah,
like if you're living by yourself and you're relying on outsiders to help
to
you, and
help you.
yeah, and you got
Yeah,
something that comes up and you say, oh, well, we're good. You get a call or an email or something saying that you haven't renewed your Microsoft fee.
right. Oh, yeah,
And
here it is.
yeah,
Yeah. So a hacker claims to have breached a scam call center, stolen the source code for the company's tools, and emailed the company's scam victims, according to multiple screenshots and file provided by the hacker to 404 Media. The hack is the latest in a long series of vigilante actions in which hackers take matters into their own hands and breach or otherwise disrupt scam centers. A massively popular YouTube community with
oh yeah, I've watched some of that.
creators mocking their targets also exists around the practice. Yeah.
The best one is when they are the supposedly are he's got an isolated machine and he lets the scammer install the software for remote access and he flips it back and takes over their machine
Mm-hmm.
and opens up their camera, finds their address, and then he's got a reveal. Usually pretends to be an old lady and he has the voice down. So I want to do this. Is that okay? And just talking and go. I'll go down to Walmart and get the gift card. There's no problem. And but he turns it around and he changes his voice and he goes, okay, hi, so and so, whatever the person's name is. How is it living at this address on this floor in this city? And oh, by the way, I can see in the background you have a very lovely plant on the table. It's just, and the people lose their minds, and it's great fun to
Yeah,
listen to. It's just that it's probably a drop in the bucket compared to what's
exactly.
happening.
It
So,
is.
well,
But
I
it's
have to,
but it's a
I have to,
start.
yeah, I have to think about leaving. So
Yeah, okay. I'm looking and it's 10 o'clock and I was just gonna say, let's end it so you
yeah,
can. Yeah.
thank you. I have a busy day. I just have to. My
Yeah.
my dishwasher is on. It's getting closer to the house.
Okay, yeah. It's
But I've
fine.
got to prepare for the people coming over.
All right, Spence, thanks.
All right. Well, good. Thank you.
And guys, we're going to end up the show. So you can go do some other stuff too.
That's right.
So
Let me give you this Memorial Day weekend time back.
Yep. So good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed it. Maybe learned something from our time together today. Remember to practice safe computing and back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change any same passwords wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily talk show, political. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave and listen to him live, or you can go to the recordings later on at nickcraig.com. And Nick and Brian also do the Infection podcast on Twitch, which is a gaming, news, and survival game podcast. Just go to infectionpodcast.com and find out when is the live show that week. Or you can also go there and just download the podcast and listen to it or watch it on your own. Have a great weekend, whatever is left of it. And we'll see you back next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.